Before I became homeless?
Yeah, what was your life like?
All right. My life was okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was renting a room off a friend of mine in Katrina for about 2.5 years, and she decided to sell the house. So I became homeless because of the sales of the house. Everybody there had to move out.
Oh, but you didn't have anywhere to move to?
No. My current situation, my options were limited.
I lived in a trailer park down on River Road in Forestville. Me moving there coincided with my both physical and mental issues really sort of coming on at that point. And so I lived in great solitude there, and
For 10 years?
Yeah, I knew my position was precarious, therefore my existence there was precarious in terms of income and no income or whatever. Yeah. And they really, they just were not compassionate people, and
people who
owned it and ran it. Yes.
And when you say that, you no longer fit into their agenda.
They had a very individual way of operating their business in many ways, but not in a good way. Kind of led to a bit of a picking. It was always kind of my fault if something happened directly or indirectly. Just that kind of atmosphere that would never allow you to relax. And in the meantime, I'm becoming more and more insular and trying to deal with these issues myself.
I was renting a room off somebody, and there were a lot of drugs there. I mean, a lot of drugs 24/7. There were a couple kids there, underage, that lived there with the mother, and I started getting ripped off, and I really didn't like the drug scene. It was never but
Yeah.
So I had to leave everything and walk away one day because I had enough of it. I had enough of the stealing and just the way of life some people live. And I left. I just one day, I was gone, just like I told him I was going to be.
Were you in the military?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
I am a veteran.
You're a veteran?
Vietnam era. I didn't go to Nam because I'm an only son. And, but I was enduring 5 years and 20 days.
Wow. Thank you for your service. Do you receive monetary benefits?
No, not from the VA.
No?
I can get medical through them and everything else, but, getting VA benefits or, service pay or anything like that. I didn't stay in long enough to retire, so I can't get retirement pay. And VA pay of being wounded in action or something, no. But as far as holding the VA card for medical benefits, yes.
What led up to it is I had moved away from California after my mom died to live with a girlfriend in West Virginia, and then after she and I split up, we were together during COVID. Yeah. When she and I split up, I'd already been doing elder care for a few years, and I started caring for a friend's aged mother with kind of late stage Alzheimer's, and that started falling apart towards the end because I felt like her daughter really wasn't caring for her properly, so I decided to leave that situation, come back to California. I came back to Southern California. I stayed with my cousin. It turns out her husband was kind of violent and we didn't get along, so they threw me and the dog out of the house. I already had work in North Hollywood doing elder care, but I wasn't able to find an apartment there that I could afford, and I ended up choosing the place in Healdsburg, but that turned out to be a total scam. I called the Healdsburg police several times, and the fourth time I called them, the cop said, "You are in the right, I can't make you leave, but I suggest for your protection, you and the dog, at least go and stay in a hotel for a few days." Yeah. Legal Aid Sonoma had also given me all these resources and told me that the county is really concerned about people like me and Duncan who don't need to fall down the entire pit of this if, as seniors, and especially him with medical considerations, can be caught before and rehoused before that happens.
Could you just state your name and what you do, commission, and I guess for the community as well around you?
So my name is Liz Cruz. I am a commissioner on the Commission on Human Rights, and I represent District 3, which is Southwest Santa Rosa or Roseland area.
And what specifically do you focus on within the commission?
I focus specifically on the Youth Commission project. So I'm one of the facilitators, as well as the Visibility Project. I'm also part of that, which is a survey to track different human rights issues in the county.
And I remember you've said before that you've worked on homelessness, and when you were a part of the junior commission yourself, that you were a part of the homelessness ad hoc, correct?
Yes, and then I've also done other community work with unhoused and homeless populations.
So I kind of want to just get a brief overview from you on what you think of the current state of homelessness in California and Sonoma County as a whole.
I think that's a great question. It's definitely a loaded question and a hot topic right now. I think everyone has something to say about homelessness, including me. I think that it's definitely a cause of multiple factors, including wealth inequality, inflation, housing insecurity, a huge spike in a lack of mental health resources, but also people who maybe feel safe obtaining those resources. Because I'm aware that Sonoma County does have a lot more resources than other counties, so much that some people feel comfortable coming to our counties compared to other ones where they might not have as many resources. But I know that the shelters are full. It's still really hard to get a therapist. So the state of homelessness right now, it does not look good, but I know that there's a lot of groups and factors that have been improving. But sadly, I don't think that's enough. I think it's going to take more of a collective from everyone.
Are you part of the Home First?
Yeah, I am. But see, like I said, there's certain things you have to qualify first, and things. And one of them is that I'm looking for is you got to be able to have a vehicle to drive around in, and that's just another ordeal, man. Just trying to save up money to do that, and the price of this and the price of that, you know. But yeah, it's really, that's what I got to do, and I got to get the money together to do that. And then because there's no out, see, there's no things that. There's no services or anything they can offer us so we can take that step up either. You know, it's like you're stuck in the pool and you don't know how to swim and you're crying out for help and everybody's all, well, what do we throw her to help her? You know, so, yeah. And a lot of us are serious. We don't want to be homeless.
It's always very hard when you're on the outside looking in to determine how you achieve certain things. I mean, if you're looking for alternative housing, how do you do that? And how do you do that without going to somewhere like Human Services, who again have no problems with at all, but you'll end up with a pile of paper that you then have to take home and somehow sort out and call and probably do all the wrong things, you know, because you don't know any better.
Is Sonoma County doing enough for homeless people?
No.
And why not?
Put it into perspective is that the people who make the policies aren't boots on the ground, and they've never been in the position that these people are in, nor have they gone out to try to learn what their needs are, how to help them. They just make policies. And like, take for instance, the warming shelters. Their rules are, we'll open the warming shelter when it is some ridiculous temperature like 22 degrees outside for 3 consecutive days, when people can get hypothermia at 45 degrees.
This is the data for the Guerneville shelter, where the interviews took place. It is astounding how much higher the current occupancy is in relation to the technical limit that funding covers. Also, the fact that the average guest staying at the shelter was a senior, really shows how there needs to be a better safety net for some of the most vulnerable people in the community.
I wouldn't say there's less funding for housing. There's less funding in general. There's funding that comes down and it has to go to certain areas.
Right.
The reason there's less funding is because like there's this thing called pit count. It's called point in time.
Yeah.
Where the county members go out and count as many homeless people as they can, so that we have correct numbers, so that we can turn that in, so that when we're asking for funding, we're saying we have a homeless population of blank.
Yeah.
Well, before pit count, almost every year, the police go and do a sweep of the encampments, especially in Santa Rosa, the bigger encampments, which means they take all their stuff, they kick them away. If you don't leave, we'll arrest you.
And they do it right before?
Right the night before pit count.
Why?
So then they're dispersed.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where they're at. So they're not counted. And so the thing is that it looks good on paper. It looks great on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, our homeless population has gone down this year. But then when we're asking, in reality, they're just dispersed. And the other thing is that because the number is lower on paper,
yeah,
our funding is lower.
Right.
And we have a bigger homeless problem than we did before because we have less funding to work with.
Since becoming unhoused, has there been a difference in the way people treat you?
Yes.
How so?
How so? It's a stigma around being homeless. You know, you tell them you don't have a place to live or something, and automatically the majority of the people, their whole attitude just kind of flips and changes. Because all it takes is one person to have a bad, confrontation with one of these people, and automatically they lump all of them together.
Mm.
Automatically anybody that's homeless, just falls in that category. And all it takes is one to mess it up.
What would you like to say to those people that hold this social stigma?
I think they ought to treat everybody individually. They ought to actually, talk to the person or whatever, have an interaction with them or whatever, because each person is different.
What do you think the county should do in order to, I guess, facilitate this transition from being unhoused to housing?
I think they should make more opportunity for like financial help, etc. Not all of us need a great deal of help.
Yeah.
Some of us just need a little bit more help to do something for ourselves. And the stigma is what holds it back. The stigma around the housing. Because not all of us are the same. We're all individuals just like they are.
I think they should organize some kind of group, excuse me, a group or a few people that can help us make that final step, that big jump, because we jumped every cloud we could. And now we just got that one. That's why it's the last one that could really help us out. I'm not saying give anything to anybody. Let us work for it if we could, but at least have something that we know we can go straight to, so we don't get stuck in a rut, so we can pull ourselves out of this just as fast as it happened.
I feel there is not enough help and training, like life training, given to our folks.
What do you mean by life training?
Let's say somebody's been homeless for 7 years on the streets,
yeah,
and then 2 years in the shelter. that changes you mentally, emotionally, physically. And like I was telling you, like how I put reminders on people's beds when they have like a doctor's appointment. When you're homeless, your mind is in 20 other different places, and time especially has a completely different meaning. When you're homeless, you're in survival mode. So when we get somebody housed that is in survival mode, that's when you get like people who are hoarding, people who are, there's rotting food. They don't know how to pay their bills. And we do have a service called Transitions.
Yeah, I was about to say, like on West County Services website.
And so those people have lived experience of going through the same exact thing. We need more of that. We need more people to come out and walk people through it, because I do everything I can. I will bend over backwards to make sure that my clients are taken care of. But we have funding for 27 people and we have 44. So I'm literally taking care of 44 people every day. And I can't take the time away from others to be like, this is how you make a shopping list. I think that we just need to come together, all the organizations that deal with the homeless issues, and put together a whole new organization, because Transitions is great. We just need more.
What is something that person watching this video can do to help homeless people?
I would say recognize the humanity in every human being. Just because you happen to, at this moment, not have a roof over your head does not mean that you lack any respect. You have no idea what got a person to that place. You have no idea what they're going through, and you have no idea what they're doing to help themselves. So have no judgment. Just accept them as human beings and treat them as such.
It's a bit of a general question.
Okay.
But if you could have anything in the world right now, what would it be?
World peace. Really, you know what I mean? That's what I think. World peace would be the beautiful thing, it really would.
Especially like right now in the world with so much.
And you know what? We think we got it rough, There's a lot of people out there with more rougher than me, and that's another thing,
If you could have anything in the world right now, what would it be?
If I could have anything in the world, holy smokes, that's a good one. I would want everybody to just get along. That would be the ultimate thing. People treat people like they would want to be treated, and it's not so out there. That's what I would want. And for the most part, the people that meet me, I have a good rapport with. And I would want that for everybody.
If you could have anything in the world right now, what would it be?
World peace.